What's up, Buck fans? It's Victory Monday. You know what it is. Sports Talk 49 live on BucsReport.com every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. Monday doing postgame, Friday doing pregame. Today's lineup is recapping the Bucs versus Vikings game. What y'all opinion? Bucs win 26-14 at home against Minnesota, trying to fight for their playoff lives. Gonna have the tweet of the week, coaching from the couch with Allison, and hear from Deshaun and some other guests. My perspective on Tom Brady's 2 TD passes. Talk about some keys to victory. My report card that I put out earlier for my winning angle. Bruce Arians speaks on the Buccaneers' victory, and congratulating Sarah Fuller. All that's coming up soon, right here on Sports Talk 49, and we'll be back right after these intros.
Power bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up. Going solar with 320 may cost you nothing down. But the work we do is not a $0 job. With a 10-year roof penetration warranty and solar panels guaranteed for 25 years, you can have peace of mind knowing we will do the job right every time without question. .320 Solar. Power up.
Doesn't mean it isn't pulling on my heart until it's almost white. 'Cause I wanna let you feel strong.
A legend is born for the game, born for the throne, up from the ground, and out of the gates. I am the storm, I am the thunder, I am the eye of the hurricane. Yeah, 'cause I'm the only one that's born for this shit. 'Cause I am mythic, I was made for this shit. They feeling the rumble when I make you quake. Out on the earth, up from the bottom, onto the top, making it shake, yeah. I'm taking the crown.
You gotta get this done, man. Everything you got, all right? Let's get it. As a family. Family on 3, 1, 2, 3.
I'm legendary.
Football, touchdown, Tampa Bay. Touchdown, Buccaneers. Pass. Intercepted back the other way.
I'm legendary.
High step it down the sideline. Still on his feet. And he gets there. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
Written in stone. History's made. I came to rule. I came to.
There we go. That's a Victory Monday, everybody. Bucs win 26-14 in Minnesota. And before we get started, let me give a good shout out to all the great sponsors that make these things great. Make sure to check out Fast Cannabis Clinics of America, nation's largest medical marijuana doctor with over 2,500 state licensed doctor with 32 states. Marijuana is legal. My Cannabis card effectively links new patients with the closest state licensed doctors near them while saving you up to 30% of your valuation costs. Of course, the show is powered by none other than 320 Solar. Go to 320solar.com and pay nothing out of pocket till 2022. Go to 320solar.com. eWire Solutions. Go to ewiresolutions.com or call 813-667-2003 for all your home electrical smart home needs. Daniela Styling Studios. You want to look good, feel good, go to Daniela Styling Studios, Lady Barber Daniela at .booksy.com and book your appointment today. Definitely last, but definitely not least, the Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol, Cedric Robinson in the game where the Bucs Report, the Sports Web, do live remotes there. And it's a great experience being around other, not athletes, but fans of the game and everything. And it's just a great experience to go eat and just watch football. So let's get into it. What do you guys got for me? I see in the comments, some Bucs fans are always going to complain about something if we win or lose. Tim Witherspoon, 8-5. Let's go, Bucs. Brady will be all-time passing TDs leader within 2 games. It's quite possible, Tim. And yes, Chris, there's always those people. The boo birds are negative Nancy's, but you can't let it ruin what you got going on or what you feel going on with the team. And speaking of going on with the team, let's hear what Bruce Arians had to say on some of the comments in the game and thing like that. And we'll go from there. Check this out.
Yeah, just the decision. I love Leonard. I think he's a heck of a kid, great player. Just we wanted to get Shady back involved. And, he's fresh. And he showed it today. He really he made it all pay off for me. I took the risk, and he made it pay off. He made the best of his opportunity, but it's nothing against Leonard.
Thanks. Today and to get him involved on some of those deep passes.
None really. He's the deep guy on that pattern. Tom read it out and he hit him, but it was not designed to go to Scotty. It was designed to go somebody else. I think yes and no. I think games dictate how much you run it. What's the score at the end of the third quarter? And we were leading, so it leads to more runs. And Rojo ran really, really well, especially that last drive. And we wanted to set up some play action. Didn't hit it as many as we hoped, but that when asked early this week about our identity, I think we just showed our identity. We can do any damn thing we want to do.
Against his
I'm sure. I'm sure he's elated. Family's probably elated. Sure, when you watch the team you grew up watching, your dad and in the locker room, it's huge. I can remember when Peyton played the Saints. It was the same type of thing. So, yeah, Antoine. When he got the blitz sack, I just loved to see us pick up that fumble and score. But that was a great job by him. Well, we got the tiebreaker on these guys, and this is a good football team. They're going to win some games down the stretch. We're one day at a time. And that's what I just told the guys. It was a great win because it started on Tuesday. We had great practices Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And again, this week's different. We can't meet Mondays and Tuesdays. So we have another different way that we have to handle getting ready to play a ball game. And whether it's virtual, however we get it done, we'll get it done. And just make sure that we take care of tomorrow's business tomorrow.
Our last one's going to be from Rick Stroud.
Bruce, when you guys only had 5 plays on offense in the first quarter, I mean, what's the conversation? How difficult is it over there to wait to get your offense back on the field?
Yeah, it's frustrating because, again, we had a manageable third. They dropped the coverage and came back and hit Scotty. It's a good play by their defense. We went to the right guy, and they just made a good play. But yeah, it is frustrating when they're running the ball like that against our defense. We're just not used to that. Again, it wasn't anything scheme-wise. We're just missing tackles against a really good back. And I think we cleaned that up as we got better and better as we went along.
Shout out to Buccaneers.com for always putting out great content like that. So, yeah, let's get into it. We talked about a lot of intangibles in that game and a lot of intangibles that we talk about, amongst each other and amongst us media people and things like that. So it brings me to this point. Let's check out what I said they needed to do and what they actually did. Here we are. My to-do list I put out on Friday. Offense, establish the run. Check. I said convert third downs. They did not get a check for a plus mark because they went 5 for 11 and finished under 50%. Had they been over the 50% marker, I'd have probably gave them a higher grade. I'd have gave them a green check, but they did get the win. They pulled it out that they needed to do. No turnovers. Check. No dumb penalties. Double check. On defense, watch play action passes. They were excellent on that. We'll get into a little more detail on that in a minute. Stop the run. It's kind of hard to do with Dalvin Cook back there in that offensive line. Attack ball on deep throws. Carlton Davis made a great job breaking up a big third down conversion attempt. And I said player spotlight. I crossed out Eric Kendrick because he did not play in this game. But I was spot on. I said Antoine Winfield Jr. will likely have a big game this game, and he did. He led the team in tackles. He had a sack fumble, and like Arians said, it would have been nice to see him come around with a pick it up and take it to the house for a touchdown. That would have been pretty wild, right? So let's get into the details about that. The Buccaneers ran 49 plays versus the Vikings ran 76. Penalties were 5 for 34 and Tampa 5 for 71 with the Minnesota. Key stat, 0 turnovers. Vikings had 1. Fourth down efficiency, which I was talking to Peter and the guys in the gang that I knew they would be going for it on fourth downs with the field goal kicker situation. Field goal kicker costing 10 points in the game. They were 4 for 5 on fourth downs. Key stat, like I said earlier, 5 for 11 on third downs. Vikings were 5 for 15. And that goes to what Arians was saying about why they can't get started earlier. Like you guys say, like fast starts and things. You got to convert the third downs. Run pass, play action, it doesn't matter. You just got to convert the third downs to give your opportunities to get more plays, to get more guys involved and get them going, get the blood going and things like that. Me and Deshaun were talking about that before. Just getting your offense going, and you got to get those by getting the third downs. And like Bruce said earlier, they faked the coverage and came back into the coverage and knocked the ball away from Scotty. As I said, Antoine Winfield won the day, and I called that spot on. Led the team in tackles with 11. I had a sack and a forced fumble. Levante David with 9 and Devin White with 9 underneath behind that. I was spot on with that. Tom Brady. Here's a key interesting stat. All guys that were running backs, the Buccaneers went 23 for 23 rushes and passes if you don't count Tom Brady's rush attempts. By running backs, there's 23 carries and it's 23 passing attempts. So you finished even on the game and you came out with a nice victory. The other key part the Buccaneers always had trouble was field goal kicking, which they didn't have it. Suckup has been spot on. He's been seen like a great, huge free agency. Crazy that you spend all these draft picks and none of the draft picks worked out, but you pick up a guy off of injury and he's been Johnny on the spot. Crazy how things turn out that way, right? Suckup missed the extra point. He was shocked. Everybody was shocked, but I'd rather that be happening than the usual is what normally happened with Dan Bailey and the Minnesota Vikings. I want to get to you guys' comment. Frank, what's going on? Paul, happy with the win. Vikings have been playing tough. Let's keep this going with the running game. Play good complementary football. I think it will be fine. With that being said, I was a little disappointed on how we came out after the bye. Still looked flat and came out slow once again. Seemed like more of the same. I wanted a more of an explosive start. And you're right, Paul. And it comes with converting third downs. You're not going to convert those third downs early. You're only going to run 5 plays. in the first quarter, and Minnesota ran the ball and they held time of possession a lot of it. So yeah, you only had 5 plays in the first quarter, and people were arguing about running the ball the last game against the Chiefs, and that's why I brought up a point before, and I see media members are paying attention to that as well. Is that there's like you only ran about 7 plays going into the 8-minute marker into the second quarter in that Chiefs game. It's the same thing. You can't convert third downs. You're not going to run very many plays. And you can't get hot. But you're right. You got to convert the third downs. That's the key part, Paul. You got to convert the third downs. Paul, Rojo was running hard per usual when he is fed. Shady finished with some explosiveness, which was nice to see. Stay with the run and set up PA, and we will be tough to beat. Absolutely, and you're going to need that run coming in here to the playoffs and try to take some of the hits off of Tom Brady. Tim, defense should get a check for stopping the run. Kept Dalvin Cook about 80% of his normal production. He had 78 yards, I think, in the first half, which means they held him to about 24 yards in the second half. I thought about that too. But I would be biased a little bit, Tim. I would be biased. I got to say, you finally gave up a 100-yard rusher after 21 games. Dalvin Cook was pretty much their only option they had. And I bring that up because I had an interesting stat for you, Tim, because you're always bringing good insight on things like that. I had something for that. Give me 1 second. Because you have to give a double plus to the Buccaneers secondary, because check this out. I don't know if you guys realize that these DBs this week did their job. A++. He said it's okay to be biased. I try not to be biased. I try to be fair. So check this out. The person that led in receiving for the Minnesota Vikings was Conklin, the tight end, with 5 receptions for 40 yards. And Irv Smith Jr. with 4 receptions for 63 yards and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson was held to 4 receptions for 31 yards, which came mostly in the fourth quarter. Adam Thielen, 3 catches for 39 yards. The fullback, 3 receptions. Abdullah, the running back, 2 receptions. And Dalvin Cook, 2 receptions. I believe one other person had 1 more. But your corners shut down them receivers. And it went overlooked in that game, but I'm here to tell you nothing passes me, because I do my perspectives. Your corners got two check marks, A+ in that game, and a lot of it came from Antoine Winfield's great over the head coverage, and the guys played great underneath, and the defensive front got pressure where they needed to. And the interesting part is, I think with Buccaneer fans and you guys and myself, you get so caught up being used to them being a run-stop team. Well, I would rather, give up a 100-yard rusher and then not give up a buttload of yards in the air and get beat. It's kind of like a middle ground. Like, you don't want to be just only stopping the run, but then you give up 400 yards of passing and 150 to a wide receiver. It's kind of crazy, right? You try to find some middle ground. Just like you said, I think it was Paul, I think it said, you gave up 75 in the first quarter, but only 24 later. You found a happy middle, you know what I'm saying? If that's the worst of giving up 100 yards rush, I think that's not bad. Because you have a middle ground, because you're stopping the run and you're stopping the pass. You got kind of a middle ground there. And I think if they can do that all the time, that's pretty good defensive football. Especially Justin Jefferson was slated to almost be the offensive rookie of the year with over 1,000 yards receiving in 5 back-to-back games of 100 yards receiving. Not Sunday, my friend. Not Sunday. The secondary did their thing, and I'll break down from my perspectives. You guys make sure to check all that stuff out, because I'll have it available for you. Make sure to follow me on my social media site. I'm giving stuff away as well. So I'm giving away a Buccaneer flag. I'm giving away a Mike Allstott gold coin, a Doug Williams gold coin, and a lanyard with a coin in it. Jimmy Giles. So if you don't know where to find me on social media, I'll post that stuff up for you. I'm trying to get to the comments here. Don't want to ignore you guys. Tom Kent, 33 yards first half scares me. Moving forward, converting third downs is the word, Kent. Yeah, you're right. Got to convert third downs to get more plays. Antoine Winfield Jr.'s best game so far, 12 tackles. I called it, Tim, in the More Friday show. I said he was going to be the guy of the game. And sure enough, he made me look like I know what I'm talking about. I tend to know a little bit from time to time. Once up 3 possessions, the game was over. Yep. Gary, we should focus on moving the chains in the beginning of the games. You're absolutely right. Put yourself in manageable downs. Call a good pass play or a good run play that should get you your yards or get you back to fall forward, and just keep doing those. Don't always try to go for the heavy hitters, because Tom did miss Gronkowski wide open right down the left hash mark. Could have been for a touchdown or a big game, but that was a missed opportunity. It's okay to be biased. A lot of comments coming. I'm sure I'll make sure to get to it. The secondary really stepped up. Yeah, it went overlooked. And that's why I said I wanted to give you guys 2 tight ends led in receptions, 5 and 4, 40 and 63 yards. Irv Smith Jr. had the touchdown. Jefferson and Thielen only had 7 receptions, and that's between both of them. And they didn't even total 100 yards receiving between both of them together. I'm giving them both together, still didn't get there. Way to go, secondary. Scooter Miller is hungry and needs to be on the field. Target him more. That TD catch was phenomenal. The dude hanging on to his face mask. It was a great play. And I like Scotty Miller. But there are things. This is the part where I tell you I can't be biased. I got to tell things how they are. He can't run routes that Antonio Brown can. He can't go up for 50-50 balls and make catches over defenders. He is a straight line, run the ball, throw the ball in front of him, and hope he gets it kind of receiver. And that's pretty much what he is. And that's why he only has a certain amount of receptions in the game. Yes, he gets a lot of yards because his yards are downfield. But you're not throwing him screens and he's juking people. Scotty had 1 reception for 48 yards and a touchdown. That was it. Antonio Brown led the day with 5 receptions, 49 yards, no touchdowns. Evans, 3 receptions, 56 yards. Godwin with 2 and 25. Not a lot of big yards coming out of the wide receiver position here, something that the Buccaneers and the Buccaneers fan thought it would be a key point in this game. But yet, we're leading on the run game later on in the year, which is fine. Coming into the playoffs, and you're going to need that. Playing in these cold weather states coming up here, and you're going to need that because it helps get the flow of things going. I think Minnesota's better than they get credit for. Yep. Scotty is on track, is a track star playing football. Absolutely. You said it best. Minnesota is better than they thought. Absolutely. They got a lot of injuries, young secondary. They got pretty decent core team together as far as offensive line, defensive line, and the quarterback, which I'll never understand. Kirk Cousins ruining the quarterback market, but getting those 2 Well, I can't really blame him because he took the money. I would have took it too. Redskins giving them those double franchise tags, then going into Minnesota, signing them to that ridiculous deal. Then Kirk Cousins getting paid all that money, changed the market for Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and all these other quarterbacks, Tom Brady. So now all these quarterbacks got to get over $30 million. And it's all because of the forefather in Kirk Cousins and the Washington football team and Minnesota Vikings doing that, paying that kind of money for a game manager. Yes, I'll give him props. No sacks given up as well, the key stat as well. Tristan Wirth showed up as usual. Donovan Smith and company played extra well that game, opening up run lanes and protecting the quarterback. They absolutely did. Y'all trash when he's bad, plays bad, so we also need to give some props when he has a good game. Good job, Donovan Smith. He's had a game for his normal standards. Yep. But that's his thing. He plays really good against weaker opponents, but when you play good opponents, you play bad. But yes, he played well. If he was not making $14 million, I wouldn't be so critical on him because you're making top left tackle money, but you're getting barely average left tackle play. That is my big issue there. And that's eating up cap. And I don't want the Buccaneers to lose players because you're paying a guy who's not performing to their contract and let these guys go into free agent. That's my issue. Otherwise than that, you're absolutely right. Played well, did his job. And I'll give him some props when I do my perspectives. I hope you guys like those. I put a lot of time and effort into those guys. And speaking of that, we're talking about Tom Brady and that. Why not get into it? I got that's a quick clip art of it because all 22 is not available yet, but I'll have it soon. But here's my perspective on Tom Brady's 2 touchdown passes. Check it out. just been said all year about Tom Brady's ability to throw the deep ball, but he didn't have that problem today against the Minnesota Vikings secondary, very young secondary. The key on here, another thing, is that Bucs haven't been running a lot of motions. They bring Scotty Miller in motion here. And as you can see the draw outlines, you have Rob Gronkowski and Mike Evans coming across the middle to distract the safety. Rob comes in, Mike comes across the middle, safety loses Scotty Miller in transition, and an easy touchdown. Here's an importance of why you should run the ball, because it opens up play action. And the Bucs have been running the ball heavy in the goal line. Here it is. It's just a two-man route. Bucs are loaded up as if they're going to give the ball up the middle. Another motion away, play action. Rob Gronkowski finds space for a touchdown. There you have it. For all those folks been advocating for running the ball, it's important because it opens up play action, especially in the red zone, where Rob Gronkowski and Mike Evans are really dangerous threats. And speaking dangerous threats and making history, as somebody just said, I want to make sure to give a special shout out to the world breaking barriers and letting people achieve their dreams and stuff like that. I'm a big advocate for women's rights and equality among everybody, race, and gender and things like that. So I felt I had the need to do this. So I just want to give a special shout out to Sarah Fuller real quick.
And here comes Sarah Fuller onto the field. Now last week, 2 weeks ago rather, she made history as the first female to ever kick off at the Power 5 level. Now she can be the first to make an extra point at the Power 5 level, right through there. And
there you have it, Sarah Fuller, first female to kick off in the game and first female to make an extra point. Breaking barriers, man, that's what it's all about in this world. And keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Embrace a diversity. Embrace different opinions, different looks, and people aren't robots. Everybody's different, and we just need to start embracing that. And that's cool that she did. I can only imagine how she feels. But back on the Bucs and the football. Where do we stop at? Oh, we're talking about play action passing and things like that. It's important to make sure to run ball, and I think the Bucs are learning that, as I just said. Without Brady's added rush attempts, the Buccaneers were dead even at 23 apiece, with 23 carries to the running backs and 23 passing attempts. Paul, again, I agree about Miller, but he is the only deep threat we have as far as creating that separation down the field, and he has the speed to make up the ground for overthrows here and there. If Miller can have one big play a game, I'll take it. Absolutely, yeah. Maybe I came off wrong. Absolutely, I'll take it, because they don't have anybody to open up, and that's kind of why they brought him in here to do those sort of things. I would just like to see a little bit more out of him. You're clearly not going to get a Julian Edelman kind of guy. I think all that's gone out the window. You're not going to get a great route runner. But right now, his track speed does draw doubles, and it's going to open up somebody else. And Mike Evans and a lot of these other guys open up stuff for him too. So that's how it works. And I don't know if you heard Bruce Arians. He said the play wasn't drawn up for Scotty Miller. It was made for somebody else. He's the one that just ended up getting open. So that's the part where I try to make up, like, when guys talk about play calling, the ball isn't really forced to go to one. Well, it kind of is. You have a first look and a second look, but the defense dictates where the ball goes, as Arians said. And on that particular one, Scotty had the advantage, caught the defender flat-footed, and with his speed, if he's even, he's leaving. And that's what he did. And Tom Brady gave a great pass and dropped it right into the bread basket for Scotty to make a touchdown. Any thoughts on topic of media saying Antoine Winfield Jr. 31 should be hitting proverbial rookie wall because that's obviously not obvious nonsense? I tend to not listen to naysayers. What I've learned before even becoming a media member is that people don't want to see certain people succeed, regardless of what you're doing, if you're doing everything right. So you ask your question, why? Why? And I don't have the answer why they're doing that. But that's the question you always ask. You ask why. And I see that tendencies from time to time with Tampa Bay. They try to find. They're so used to the normality of Tampa finding ways to blow things, finding ways to be bad, finding X, Y, Z, and this, that, and the third. And you have great pieces here, but you try to chip at them to make it fit back into the mold of what they're already used to knowing them for. So when you have something different going on, people don't tend to like it. So it's hard to say. I mean, they can say what they want. I would tell them to ask Antoine Winfield. Why don't they ask Antoine Winfield? Is he going to hit a rookie wall? He was kind of quiet the past couple games, and then he comes out and plays a good game, and all of a sudden he's going to hit a rookie wall soon. So it's a skewed opinion. A lot of media members don't cover big name. They don't cover Tampa like we do. They don't cover Tampa like Greg Allman and all, Rick Stroud and all these guys, regardless of who they work for and all that. They're all media guys, and we all do the same thing and base our opinions and try to educate you guys on the game. But that's their opinion. If that's what they want to think and put expectations on Antoine Winfield, go for it. Because if he played for any other team, I don't think they'd be saying that. Paul Miller was wide open for a TD earlier when Brady overthrew Godwin. He could have had two. Absolutely. And I was getting on guys earlier, in our BR chat about that. I'm like, it's not the plays, guys. You can see guys are open. Tom Brady's coming out early, throwing over Godwin's head 5 yards, and he's sitting in the middle of the field wide open with no pressure coming. That's on Brady. It's not on the plays. It's on Brady. That's what you brought Brady here for, to complete easy passes. The other thing was when Brady comes here, he said he's going to hold everybody accountable, but Brady needs to be held accountable too. He's the quarterback. Ultimately, at the end of the day, he's the point guard of the offense. He's the guy that distributes the ball to the other players, gets the assist, if you want to call it. So when he makes a bad decision or makes a bad throw, I'm sure he takes responsibility for it as well as you just, as fans and other media people, you got to understand that too. He needs to take responsibility as well for bad play and poor decisions. He did not turn the ball over. The Buccaneers win. Crazy as that turns out, sounds like 2019, right? Don't turn the ball over, they win the game. 0 turnovers, major kicks, pull out a great needed win. It was like a playoff game in that matchup. Pulled out a win. Tim, I'll argue with all of them. I don't think his hits the wall. He's been through full NFL seasons as close as anyone could be without a player because of his pops. His pops helps, but him as well, taking the time to study, taking the time to learn route combinations, taking time to know what people are trying to do to you. Because I told you guys before, when everybody gets upset about plays, the plays ain't changing, man. They ain't changing. You can't change week 14 and change a whole new playbook and have everybody think how this team would look trying to do that. It would look like a catastrophic mess. Try to change all them plays in week 14. It's execution, and that's really the issue. You need to get more third downs to get faster starts. You need to execute and make the plays you need to make. And the one thing for me, and I'll agree with y'all a little bit, on the play calling, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Make things simple. Make things simple for everybody. Move the change. If you need to make an adjustment, make the adjustment. Like Bowles did in the earlier drive where they didn't put any pressure on Foles. I said Foles. Any pressure on Cousins. And then they started blitzing him. Antoine went down on the blocks, got a sack, almost a turnover. JPP got a strip sack, interception, whatever you want to call it. All the three things on one play, strip sack, interception, whatever. And you put pressure on him and he crumbled. And I think me and Deshaun said on Friday, and I know he'll probably agree, the one thing we said you needed to make the Minnesota Vikings what they're not good at, make them a passing team. Make them come out in 3-4 wide. How do they look in that? I'll give you a hint. They looked with Conklin and Irv Smith Jr. with 5 and 4 receptions, leading the team in receiving with 40 yards and 63 yards. Those were your leading pass catchers in that game when they were forced to come out of their element of running the ball later on in the game when you're forced to pass. Kirk Cousins is a highly overpaid game manager, ruined the QB market for this NFL, and he's no different in my eyes than Jimmy Garoppolo. So it's just the QB market and what happens with teams when they think they've got sugar and they get SHIT. So that's just what happens. So let me see where we're at right now. If you're just tuning in, it's Sports Talk 49 live on BucsReport.com every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. Mondays doing post game, Fridays doing pregame. Deshaun, I see you down there. I want to make sure I get through everything because I got a bunch of good stuff. Allison will be joining us later. You know, she's got it right. The Steelers played yesterday. You know, didn't look too hot to the Bills. Bills handled them manhandling, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about the Bucs right now. And I always got some interesting stuff for us. Probably going to get her fired up too, boy. This one's probably going to get her fired up. But hey, he wanted to push the button, so I'm going to bring it up. Tweet of the week. How could I forget that? Tweet of the week. Here's an awesome one, folks. I hope you guys are watching. Tweet of the week, everybody. Hold on, let me get to it. Here we go. Skip Bayless. Bucs are about to get blown out at home again. Wow, Skip. So you thought Kirk Cousins in the passing greatness of that offense was going to throw for 400 yards passing? They threw to a whopping 225 yards passing with 37 attempts, 6.1 yards per pass. Yeah, he was airing it out. He was airing it all out, all right. 5 yards down the field. That tweet didn't age well now, did it? So we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll come back, bring Deshaun on. Still talk Bucs. We'll talk other NFL as well. And I see your comments in there, and I'm going to get right to them. So don't go nowhere. Get yourself a drink, because Lord knows I will. Because if I don't, my lips look like I've been eating powdered donuts. So let me go ahead and get there, and we'll come right back if I can find it. There we go. back with Sports Talk 49 live on BucsReport.com every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. Monday going postgame, Friday doing pregame. And we're at the halfway part. Now we're going to still talk Bucs. We're going to still talk around the NFL because we're going to do everything what we do. We're going to coach from the couch. And here we are. We're going to do our coaching with Deshaun, the man Tidsdale, Fast Track Campus Clinics of America. What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey. Let's wave those flags. Let's wave those flags. Wave those flags.
Oh, there it is.
Wave those flags, man. I'm telling you. Listen, came out this weekend, did what we had to do. Listen, I can't be more happier with the team because you know how a lot of people may not realize this, but I've coached for a long time and I've played for a long time. And, you know, I've coached my kids and many other people's kids. And here's what I realized. You get a team that's coming off the bye versus a team that is turning their season around. Team that's turning their season around needs to keep going. They need to keep the momentum going. And what do? They do what they do best. They don't try to go out and become someone else. They stick with the one thing that they do well, which is what Minnesota came in and did. You know, they came out with the run. They were supposed to. They stuck with the run. And it doesn't matter if we have one of the best rush defenses or something like that. I mean, they came out and they said, listen, we got to run the ball at them. This is how we turned around our season, and this is what we're going to do. A passing game that they employ because they are a running team is pretty well, play action off of those runs, and then very short passes, which actually are, it's almost a plus and minus, for that fact, because, they rely on breaking tackles on the outside or backers not being able to get out there and support those little shell runs and stuff like that for the outside. Well, we have fast backers that are able to get out there and just take care of it. And you know what? I'm very happy with, I knew as we watched this game in the first half, I said, listen, very first quarter, we didn't really touch the ball, stuff like that. I said, listen, the defense missing a lot of tackles. Some of our fits weren't really sound. I was looking for the second half adjustment. I was kind of waiting for a second half adjustment as I'm in the first half watching that, saying, listen, we're not there. We need to make some adjustments. Well, we made those adjustments in the second half, and we pretty much, and that plus an injury, it's still the NFL. Everyone saw Dalvin Cook kind of laboring with that hand. They came out, went to that fullback several times, and he's a big man. Probably one. There ain't many fullbacks in the league. You got Juszczyk, is probably arguably the best fullback in the league. And then he wasn't. Was it Gay or what was it? I forget his last name, but he was pretty solid coming out the backfield. And a big boy. When you get any running back in the backfield, aside from a Derrick Henry making Devin White look small or kind of bounce off, you need to realize that, hey, he's, this is a big guy. But defensively, always things to clean up. I go with what you say. Secondary played really well. I thought our linebackers could definitely play better. A lot of missed tackles there. Very uncharacteristic, but it's been characteristic over the last couple of games. Not totally characteristic, but over the last couple of games, we've been missing a little bit right now. And we're worried about a rookie wall with Winfield. I'm not worried about a rookie wall with Winfield. If you go on like next gen stats, he has like the fastest sack to record. I think it's like 2.6. Not 2.6. Yeah, 2.06 seconds to the sack. I mean, he's number one for fastest sack on next gen stats right now. So we're talking about, let's put in perspective where we are as Tampa Bay right now. Because most of the times at this time of the year, we don't have a number 4 tackler in the league on defense. Number 10 sack leader on defense. I don't want to say it's tons of people with 4 interceptions, but it's about 8 or 10 people with 4 interceptions in the league. But I want to say number 4 defensive back with interceptions in the league. our running back is probably number 4 with yards. Listen, we're ranked all around here. Biggest thing that we have been ranked over the years has been with, we get Godwin, we get Mike Evans hitting that 1,000-yard mark. But listen, I'll sacrifice that, still have them get catches to have everyone else shining. That's worth one of those Wall-Payton Man of the Year awards that Mike Evans is up for right now. If you haven't voted, or it's up to anybody to vote, go ahead and vote for it. This guy's doing okay right now. And I wanted to challenge this to you and Paul. That I saw you making the comments earlier. I believe that right now, Brady can get the ball to Scotty Miller on the routes that are very familiar to them that they've ran in practice. Different though, I do believe that Antonio Brown can go deep and get vertical and also get passes. I mean, I've seen him open the last 3 games. It's just that Brady didn't connect. This game is another game where had Brady connected on some of those throws. So listen, I mean, we could say, Brady's not a fraud. He's not having any age fraud or anything like that. I don't think that, but I think this game was very strategically done with some help from Bruce Arians. You let me know what you think. Actually, I'll tell you this. I called in on, oh my gosh, one of the other Bucs Report shows. There's so many great shows on here. It was something about like eating in the South or something we were talking about. But Ray was on there from Cup of Ray on Sunday mornings, and he had a great analysis. And what he said was, I could see if Fournette doesn't play because Fournette's the same type of player as Ronald Jones. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, so when we get to the game and Fournette's not up, I say, you know what? Fournette is Ronald Jones.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, he said pretty much. You said that?
I said, go ahead, Eric.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I lost connection there for a minute. I had to come back on, but I was talking to Blake about that yesterday. So I said a similar thing. As soon as we signed Fournette, I was wondering how that was going to work. They have similar skill sets, and Fournette's supposed to be the better catcher out of the backfield. But then last week, or 2 weeks ago, he had was it 3 drops, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
And then McCoy's bouncing back, coming off the injury, so it made sense when I saw that when he wasn't dressed out. I said, it sort of makes sense. It's gonna be
I kind of thought that. Well, Eric, let me ask you and Blake this, because here's what I really thought. I felt as if, like you thought it already, Eric. That, and I know Ray thought it from Cup of Ray that okay, if Fournette is the same type of player and you bring him in, I felt like when I saw McCoy come in there, McCoy was up this week, not really because he had any real injury issues. He's been on the side forever right now. I don't think that there was any impending injuries. What I thought was the thought out of BA, and I really say this was a BA call to me. I don't think this is a Brian Leftwich kind of call, was that if we were not able to just pound the ball with Rojo, that we were going to need more scatty type players. And that brings you to LaShawn McCoy, which is shady. And that also put in Vaughn, that was up as well. And you saw nice little trap play. Christian Wirfs kind of missed that block, but he was going on a counter. So he didn't stay, but that end, he wasn't, this is the NFL. You can't just leave an end and think he's not going to come in. That was a hilarious play design for the front that you were facing. Now, had we been facing another front and, maybe the film said that they were going to drop out Blake, I saw you nod your head. There's no way you can run a counter with the DN standing dead in front of that tackle. He's going to follow him right in. I mean, every coach tells you if this guy's leaving, you go with them or you grab him and stop him. So, that was going to happen regardless. But, listen, the fact that we saw him in the game said that, listen, Rojo wasn't too tired. Shady, he's looking to see right now who can give us something. Those 32 yards were not more than anyone else is averaging. Vaughn is averaging the same amount that Shady's averaging at this point. They got the similar number of rushes, similar number of yards, but it was when those yards came and the effectiveness of it. Listen, that Shady run that he gets the helmet-to-helmet contact gets us a first down.
Yep,
that was huge in this game.
Doesn't have to get the ball back after that play.
There you go. That's tremendously huge. And guess what? He did have a spurt that he did not have at the beginning of the season. I was not seeing that burst out of Shady. And I'm like, dude, he had the normal, Shady's he's super shifty, which is why he makes defenders know, like, listen, I got something here. You gotta come with it. Now they tag him up when they tag him, but he was definitely, and I'll show you something else that I kind of watched this elder statesman. I watched how the offensive line was running to help Shady up, not letting him use his own power, getting his man up off the floor. I was like, okay, those are little things that you got to watch as you watch your team throughout the season, just to see how they go back to the huddle, or see if they're going to their guy, going to get their guy, picking their guy up. And those things are important to me. I think moving forward, we're going to have more of these backs out there, because it's very important to not get Tom hit and knocked to the ground. Sacks are great to not have sacks, but Tom Brady getting hit and getting knocked to the ground, it's not in our benefit. We at any point, we've never come this far to go with Blaine Gabbert. So, that's not to me, that's just not the thing. And I'm happy to take the win. Looking at the way that the passes broke down, guys, I don't see Mike Evans getting 1,000 yards this season. Do you?
And I don't think he's fine with that.
Yeah, I don't think he really cares. I believe he said that almost verbatim. They asked him. He said, I'm in it to win it. We're all in, and he's a team player, and everybody seems to be as well. So it's great to see that coming together. I mean, yesterday was just a must-win in so many different ways. It's not just statistically, so we can control our own fate, but just for the morale for the team. And the worst thing I would hate to see us lose yesterday, not be able to control our fate, and then you could only imagine what would have happened, with all the finger pointing on at Byron Leftwich, and then it's Antonio Brown's fault or it's this person's fault. Yeah, it was a great win. I'm sitting here looking at some stats here now. So Tom Brady, so he's sitting at second right now, the most single season passing touchdowns in franchise history for the Bucs. So he's thrown 30, which is Jameis Winston threw 28 in 2016, and then he surpassed Jameis Winston from 2016, and he's only 3 away from surpassing Jameis Winston last year. Jameis Winston threw 33 touchdowns last year, and Brady threw 30. And so it looks like, barring some crazy unforeseen injury to Brady, looks like Brady's this year, he'll go down as the single season passing touchdown champ.
Absolutely.
Hey,
with less interceptions.
Go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, with
less interceptions, you got it.
That's the key part, with less interceptions. And what did everybody kept saying last year to this one? If you could produce the same amount of offense with the least turnovers, you should win games. And the Bucs are right at where everybody had them, around the 10-6, 11-5 marker. So they're right on track. And speaking of on track, make sure to check out Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. And let's also add somebody I haven't seen in a while, because I don't know, their team's been winning and she feels she's better than everybody else.
I'm interested to hear what she has to say about that game.
She's mad. She's probably eating 2 bottles of Tums, if I know her. so let's, without further ado, let's bring her in, Miss Allison Koehler.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Allison.
Hey. So, yeah, the Steelers are losing.
Well, Allison, before you get started, I had to, I find this stuff all around the place, and I find interesting conversations all over from east to the west coast. So I had something here that has somebody that has a message just for you. So I don't get too mad when you hear it.
Victory cigars are the sweetest cigars of all. I'm a humble man, no reason to be obnoxious. Pittsburgh's a good team, but their time has come and gone. And Buffalo is Pittsburgh 15 years ago. Big, strong, mobile quarterback, tremendous young coach from the defensive side. The Bills are current and real and a Super Bowl contender. The Steelers, are a big brand, and they are no longer elite. And you know it if you're in Pittsburgh. You know it. You can yell at me, you can scream at me, and it does hurt my feelings. I'm sensitive and humble and sensitive and humble. Did I say that? Last week, though, I will admit this. I said the Browns are better than the Steelers, the Bills are better, the Rams are better, Green Bay's better, the Saints are better, the Chiefs are better, Seattle's better. I did say the Giants are better. They're not. Steelers would beat the Giants by a field goal in triple overtime at home. Congratulations. In honor of the Bills tonight, I had a dozen wings. They didn't stand a chance, much like the Steelers.
I want to slap.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been one of my favorites for a long time.
Well, go
Yeah,
ahead, Allison. I'll let you take the floor on this one.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I don't disagree with the fact that their time has come, quote unquote. You know, because they have been exposed the past 3 weeks. Heck, even versus Dallas, you know, they were kind of
should have lost that game.
Kind of predictable, you know. They just keep running the same plays over and over again, and it finally caught up with them. And it doesn't appear that they have a plan B. I was kind of hoping that I was sort of relieved. I think a lot of Steelers fans were relieved when they lost to Washington because they sort of needed a wake up call that things weren't working. Because and if you keep winning, and Blake, you and I have discussed it a lot, as long as you're winning, there's nothing to fix. But they lost. So I thought, well, maybe this is a wake-up call for them to realize, hey, what we're doing is no longer working and we need to change it. But so I was sort of looking for a better response than yesterday. I think a lot of Steelers fans expected Pittsburgh to lose. But I think that they expected them to lose kind of, you know, going down swinging, you know what I mean? And they didn't do that. And I think that's a real, it's very telling because they'll have a bounce back week versus Cincinnati on Monday Night Football, which I'm like, oh, great, you know.
Congratulations.
Another national platform, you know what I mean? They'll bounce back. They can't lose. They cannot lose to the Bengals. But honestly, then they have the Colts and the Browns. I honestly don't
tough.
I'm beating either one. So I'm sort of feeling like a 12-4, if they're lucky, record to finish the season.
What happened, Allison? What's going on? I mean, I haven't followed, you know, I don't follow them as closely as the Bucs, obviously, but so what's going on, do you think? What in your opinion, what would you say is happening, you know, in Pittsburgh right now?
Well, the offense isn't evolving. Oh, go ahead, Blake.
I just want to add something. I said, do you guys know who coaches the Bills defense?
Negative.
Y'all don't know, right? I'm telling you this, it's obviously connected to the Buccaneers.
Oh.
Leslie Damn Frazier.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Coaches the Bills defense. Who did he coach with recently?
Mike Tomlin.
Yep. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He was here with Lovie Smith as a D coordinator back a couple of years ago. It's funny how things turn out when you give people time to do stuff. But go on.
Yeah. I think he coached. I think he and Tomlin too.
Yeah, he was with Tomlin first. Then he took
they don't
the head
go as
coaching
far
job.
back. They don't go as far back as he and Sean McDermott. You know, it was last night. But yeah, I just think the Steelers. They don't. I feel like they just don't know what to do. Like
let me ask you this, Allison. Let me stop you there because I've been watching the Steelers games and listen, Eric and Allison, Blake. I've been seeing the same team that I saw yesterday for weeks, and I've been wondering how this team is winning. Like, has it been the lucky rabbit foot? Do they have something from like a leprechaun? Like, how are they winning? Do they do like 35 helmet? What are they doing to win games? Because listen, the offense that we saw yesterday was just, not only was it, I've seen the same exact offense against the Redskins. the same things. And I know what you're talking about. You guys are looking for that change. I haven't seen the change. And when I see teams do that, it makes me feel like they can't change. Because if they could, you would. And then all the pundits are telling them, all the coaches must know it. There's something there that they can't really, we can only kind of do this. And when you look at the personnel, you go like, no, I know you could do more. But I think what it is, listen, as he just said in the video that Blake played, you know what? The Bills may be that they used to be. The Steelers are who they used to be, you know, and now they're the Steelers. Because at the end of the day, listen, look at who they really are. We're always, year after year, all Steelers fans are not sure whether Ben's coming back and do you really have a backup. Next after that, it's always a run game. And the Steelers have always, got players, picked players. And if you can get someone to follow the creed, if you will, if they'll follow the whole Steeler code, they'll stay there and they'll be bought in. But once they want that money, then that kind of turns them off. They're not really true Steeler Nation. And they turn into like a mercenary type of, and then they're gone. And the Steelers always plug and play. You always bring somebody else in, and they seemingly do well. Like, you get rid of you guys get rid of the running back the other year, then you get Redmond, then you get another running back in. It's like, oh, not a real drop off, right? And I was like, it's pretty amazing for you guys to do that. But when I saw this team go against the Redskins, you know how many interceptions. I watched that whole game from every single minute, and I said, listen, had this been any other team than the Redskins with better athletes, better players, they would have caught 4 or 5 interceptions on easily, all kinds of tip balls that they were just not the team to get picks on. And then even yesterday, I'm watching Ben, and I'm like, listen, I don't know. Now, granted, I will tell you this. For someone that's aging like Ben is aged, and I've watched him a ton of years right now because you guys have been perennial for a long time, he's still doing pretty well. I wouldn't say you count him out. I saw a couple of plays where he went to old Ben, but it's never enough. And yesterday, when I see them grind down and I see that, we're talking about no fans there, You see that, you get that Bills Mafia, and you get all that was traditional old school football. You see the smoke, you see the breath with everyone. I just didn't hear the Bills Mafia, oh, yo, yo, yo. I just didn't hear that going on. But I mean, it felt like real football, like a Steelers-Bills game. And both teams are just very subpar on offense. So I can't see you guys beating any team that can go out here and truly execute. Now, your defense was showing. They were showing out. But, I mean, you got so many injuries right now on defense. I know you're down to, was it number 51? I think it's Williams. What is he, the third or fourth linebacker?
Fourth.
Yeah. Come on. Injuries are killing right now.
And the offensive line is going down. I mean, they had a tackle, Matt Filer, who had to exit the game. And when he exited, I was kind of like, oh, that's actually good, because he's been the offensive line has been protecting Ben, but they haven't been helping the run as you know from watching their.
That's exactly what I was going to say. No run game.
So it's like they're only they're told to protect Ben, and so the run game suffers. But there's been a couple of guys on the line who have been playing horribly, including DeCastro.
When all the time.
Went out, what's that?
All the time.
Right. Yeah. So when Filer went out, I was like, okay, good, because he sucks. And then Kevin Dotson came in, and then he got injured. So it was like, it's like there's injuries up and down. And
but Ben has so much time. What do you say? What do you say when you see Ben stand there? And I know it's the Bills defense, and they're kind of similar to the Vikings, where they're young, they're not so much established. But that Bills defense, they were not bringing pressure. They were not getting to Ben like that. I would say Ben it seemed as if he had all kinds of time.
In the second half, it was a different story. In the second
first half, they were pushing.
Yeah, Leslie pushed.
I'm looking at the pressure now. So he, Big Ben, he was sacked for the first time since week 8. He had a span of 275 pass attempts. It's the second longest streak in the merger league history. So yeah, he's had. I mean, that line. I mean, it goes all the way back to the whole Le'Veon Bell debacle, and when Le'Veon Bell held out, and then we thought that he would get picked up. He ended up taking a year off, and then Connor ended up coming in and showed really what that line was about. I mean, that line has been stout.
Yeah, but it's a product. I mean, I'll say they have been playing well in terms of pass protection, but when you get rid of the ball in like 2 seconds, it's kind of
the numbers are lying to you.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
and I'm gonna tell you, as a defender, that's why you saw that pick 6 happen, which I don't know why that hasn't happened a few times this season. If I know the ball's coming out at 2.5 or 2.8 seconds, that tells me right away I can jump routes. I can gamble.
And that's what was happening against Washington. Look, Allison, against Washington, all you saw was linebackers immediately, almost at the snap, they flew out of there because guess what? You guys don't really run the ball super effectively. When you do run, it's just not, you don't run that much and you don't run super effectively. You're definitely not a balanced team. So what you saw is just what Blake said. Washington's linebackers, and they're nowhere near top tier, they were jumping out of there into their curl, into their pass zones, and they were just getting their hands all over balls. They're just not the team to get those. But what happens when you face the team? And this Bills game was just another telltale to me as, listen, if you're hanging around with the Bills at this point, and the Bills is defensively, special teams, they do a lot of things. They're going to be hard to defend. So the defense was there to hold them back and kind of compress them as they're still working on things. But teams that kind of got their stuff together a little bit more, I mean, you're not going to do that against Phillip Rivers. You have to come out and score.
And that's the thing. The Washington game was a real test because the Steelers hadn't faced a front seven, hadn't faced a defense that was as stout as the Washington defense has been. I mean, they suck against the run, but they're first against the pass. And I think that's the best pass defense they've faced all season. So I knew it was going to be because all the Steelers do is pass. So
what happened? That is.
Am I reading this wrong? It says the Pittsburgh was brutal on third down against the Bills, just 1 of 10.
Yeah,
they haven't
been that third down. Is that real?
That was it.
1 of 10 third down.
Yep,
they haven't been that bad with a 10 game streak since 2008.
Well, that's why you got your butt beat. Can't convert third downs. You're gonna get beat.
It was 3 and out. 3 and out so much.
Yes, you're right. Because they said the punter's been on the field more. You're right. They say I think it was a record for how many times the punter. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Eric. That's real. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Listen, it was so bad. It was so bad. I was watching defensive tackle, and he's right from here in Georgia where I stay. He was a local kid. Went to the high school, Peachtree Ridge, Cam Hayward. I was watching him gas, and he's a big contributor for you guys. But as you lose people, and you watch that defense stay on the field and they're so gassed, I got to wonder, okay, I want to know this from Allison. You're making the playoffs for sure. Now, who's the first fair team that you face? Because you're going to sit in a very, right now you guys are number 2. As the way this plays out, where does it leave you guys as seeding? If you drop the 2 games to the Browns and the Colts, where does that leave you guys from a seeding perspective? And are you comfortable with wherever you feel it's going to leave you?
Well, that's the thing. I think Pittsburgh is fine with whatever seed they get, to be honest with you, because then they know, okay, we're not getting the top seed. I mean, they realize that. So it just seems like they're not. Let me rephrase that. They're not playing like they care what seed they get. Let's just put it that way. So honestly, I honestly see them as maybe a 3 or 4 going in as maybe a 3 or 4 seed. To be honest with you, if they continue playing like they've been playing the past 2 or 3 weeks, they are not going to be the Colts and they're not going to beat Cleveland. They probably still play like they did yesterday and beat Cincinnati, and that's only because Cincinnati is horrible.
Yeah.
Without Joe Burrow, right?
Exactly.
I mean, he's done for the season.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Burrow's done. That's a stick a fork in that.
Who's starting for the Bengals?
And who hurt Joe Burrow? Eric, it was Chase Young.
Mhm.
Chase Young. We're just talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, it's not good. It's, you know.
So is this guy
the fact that he doesn't the fact that their offensive coordinator doesn't have a plan for when the dink and dunk didn't work anymore is horrible. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be able to adapt, and you need to be able to change when things aren't working. And as you said, Deshaun, they're not changing. They haven't changed anything. I mean, Cincinnati might be a good team to kind of bring out, like, you know, if you have any kind of
check something. Yeah,
right.
If you got anything else, let's go into the magic playbook at this point.
Yeah.
No. That's when you're in the back, when you don't want to go food shopping and you're in the back of the pantry and you're like, hey, is this still good? Have you ever had it?
Oh, Lord, checking that.
Let's try some of this.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, listen.
Offensive coordinator there. Or is Tomlin calling his plays, or who's your OC?
No, it's Randy Fichtner.
Tomlin don't call no plays. He ain't called plays, and God knows how long.
Yeah.
How long has he been with him?
What's that?
How long has he been with you guys?
Oh gosh, he's been around forever in various roles.
Coaches,
he was like quarterbacks coach, the wide receivers coach, and now
that's the Steelers. The Steelers are that. If you're behind the steel curtain, they'll keep you there and keep everything in house so they can play everything close to the chest. That's why a lot of stuff, the Steelers are very much a respected and with very good reason, a super respected team and organization in this league for what they've done over this whole time. But, it's very hard to stay relevant as things change around you and you do not change with them. And I'm not saying that means you have to kick Ben out, but I feel like this team, when this team had AB and Le'Veon Bell, they were very much a Kansas City Chiefs, if you will. They had speed, they had athletic players at positions, and now, I feel like what they've done over this past couple of years is they stayed with their motto or their creed, where we're not going to overpay people for things, and no one's better than the team, and that's great to stay with it. But I feel like in doing so, what they've done is they've lessened the product of what the Steelers really are as they come out. They're no longer the potent, team offensively. They still try to keep the defensive identity. I love that when I see them, when I see the blitzes, when I see the pressures, I'm so hyped, and I'm like, you don't have to be a Steeler fan to know Steeler football when you see it, and you can respect it and love it if you just love football. But offensively, it's like, who are these?
They're
what they're doing.
Yeah, when
Deontay got
those first two passes, I was like, oh my God, Deontay. And Chris Collinsworth, he made a couple of really good points last night. And one of them was the fact that, they're a catch and run offense. So immediately, guys like Deontay and Ebron, they're thinking about running before they even catch the ball. That's not the way it works. And I don't know that, Deontay did come back. They benched him for most of the first half.
Yeah.
He came back and make some nice plays. And I don't think he dropped the ball when he came back, but man, it's just like, they can't get anything going, offensively.
Smith-Schuster 20 yards.
What's that?
Smith-Schuster. I'm reading here. They're running the 20 yards.
Yeah, he had a decent game, and it's good because he stomped on the Buffalo Bill logo in midfield before the game, which I thought was a little ridiculous. I know he's a TikTok guy, you know what I mean? He's 24, he's always on, but it's like, man, you just don't do that. Just don't do that.
Listen, he's lucky this was not a full stadium. He would have had that going. Just absolutely, they would have been wigging out in there. And that would have had those fans turn so up that it would have been just everything. And you got to realize, here's what I'm looking at, and I'm thinking about them too, Allison. You guys are a catch and run offense, and you know what happens when you're not moving the ball? Players start pressing. They start running without the ball, just securing the catch, because they're trying to elude defenders and get big yak or get to the house.
Right.
They want to get a touch. They know this team needs it. And when you need it that bad, you start giving up stuff because you want to, everyone wants to be the one to, to make that score for the team. And just right now, it's just not panning out. And I think it really has to do total offense, and more probably offensive coordinator just coming with something different for this team. But it's kind of too late in the season to grow a new hand. You guys aren't going to do anything brand new at this point. I mean, it would already have to be in the playbook. And, Blake has said it before about Tampa. Everybody has tons of things in the playbook, but what you do and what you can execute is different. So the fact that they have all these other plays, I mean, these are Steelers. They're not coming. Everyone in the Steelers organization, I'm sure they still have the Jerome Bettis play in your playbook. Right. That doesn't mean they can run it effectively right now based on personnel and things of that nature. They're doing what they feel more comfortable with, that they can execute. And listen, if that comes down to, Ben standing back here in a max protect pocket is what it really looked like. I didn't count them every time, but a couple of times it was max protect. A couple of times it was double tight, or not a double tight, or tight in the back to chip and stuff like that. But I mean, you got to do that against Chase Youngs, and you start getting these other athletes out there. I mean, you just have to do that. I want to see the offense be a little bit better, but that's going to go against who they're going to face. And I think the Colts will put up more points offensively, but I feel like the Browns defense will be a tougher out for them, just because of the personnel that they have sitting there. I mean, the Browns have collected first round pick after first round pick over the years, and at some point that it's coming home to roost. And I hate to see it come home to roost on you guys, but better you than us. Yeah,
well, I mean, we knew that at least Steelers Nation knew, we saw last year that the Steelers offense was not going to, Ben isn't going to be around forever. I mean, I've been talking about they need to draft his replacement like 5 years ago.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But the Steelers are in for a rude awakening. The second Ben decides to hang it up, everything's going to change.
Or if time decides that Ben is going to hang it up.
Right.
Time will help him with that decision. I don't see, Ben may decide to come back next year, but the thing to me is, I watched this player who shall not be named, because Eric, you were naming him a whole lot earlier, but I will not say his name. He definitely was in talks with the Steelers. He should have definitely went to the Steelers to be a backup behind Ben, and not going to the Saints, which clearly do not want him. What was that? He definitely should not. Hey, he definitely should have went behind Ben, because if he was going to be on the bench, I would rather be on the bench, sort of waiting to get my older brother's car, because that's what he was going to do with the Steelers. He was just going to wait to get that car. He's going to learn the system. When you become a part of that Steeler Nation and get behind the curtain, that was going to be a much greater experience for him than it was to go to that town, because he's just there for the party. He's gone after that. If he would have been behind the steel curtain, he'd have had something, and he'd have just stayed there and been a coach. He didn't know when he was making that pick. He thought he was making that pick to spite Tampa. He just spited his own legacy doing that. He definitely should have been. If it was a pick of where he was going to play or the opportunity, I would have definitely picked the coldest Steeler Nation, the weapons that are there, things that are there. Forget the NFC South. You just hang your hat on. You threw 5,000 yards and don't talk about the interceptions, and kind of go from there. And to me, the Steelers need a backup. He fits the build of what the Steelers need and want in their quarterback. He still needed time to learn and develop. That would have been great there, because he would have developed in you guys' system. And listen, look at the big picture. You guys are about to be you're supposed to be in a true rebuild. You guys kind of bought a used car and didn't rebuild it. You kind of just put a couple of grand into your car, instead of going out and making you didn't want to get a payment. So you you put a couple of grand into your car. You know, you did the AC compressor and you did everything. You bought some new tires and you did some stuff, right? But
tires still bad
ain't a
on
new
that
car.
one.
Yeah, you know, look, they got some used tires. That's what that was. They were new when they got them, but they were used, so they ain't got a brand new set there, right? So I mean, right now, all I can think for the Steelers is, you know, they better get their cannabis card because they need a whole lot of relaxation.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough few seasons coming up for Pittsburgh because, you know, not only are the Browns turning the corner, you know, but the Ravens
they're falling.
But they have a better.
I get what you're saying.
Not rebuilding, I think, is what I mean to say. You know, Cincinnati's going to have to build around Burrow. You know, that's obvious. You know, if they didn't already know that, that's what they're going to have to do. So there's going to be, you know, after Ben leaves, there's going to be a few seasons that are going to be, we're going to be at the bottom of the barrel, but at the same time,
hold on. I laughed.
So.
I laughed so hard that I accidentally backed out.
I mean, you guys were talking about Winston and the Steelers thing. I remember that was a huge controversy with Nick Citro. He was taking heat from radio stations in Pittsburgh, and
yes, he should have been.
Everyone.
Well, and the punter that got a TV show now.
Pat McAfee. Yeah.
So I couldn't leave Citro out hanging like that, so I had to make a phone call to Pittsburgh to find their story was true, and to find out the story was true that they actually Steelers did offer Jameis Winston contract. I you know, as the Steelers, they like to keep things hush hush, but this infamous person that I called. Yep, I said, but this person I got through played with the Steelers and is very connected with the team, so I take that word very seriously that they offered a contract to Jameis Winston. Now, how much it was and all that, I didn't really get into. But I also have something here that was it's interesting that you guys talk about that because I also have something on this as well.
There's certain things we want Taysom to do when he's in there relative to our protections, our run game. He doesn't have to be Drew or try to be, or do we want him to try to be Drew relative to some of those other things? And so there's a little bit of a, you know, reboot relative to what you're doing during the week, how you're doing it, how you're presenting it, and then, you know, how does it suit him?
What went into the mindset to bring in Jameis Winston to this team? Did you know before the season that if this were to happen, you would go to Taysom Hill, or did you think you want to bring in guys to create a competition?
I feel like our next quarterback's in the building, and I feel like Taysom is someone that's getting a great opportunity now. Jameis has had that experience, and we think extremely highly of Jameis Winston. He had a real good camp. For us, it's about acquiring guys that we think can be starters in this league and play at a high level. We went into the season knowing that if anything happened in game, Jameis was our two, and he was going to play, and he knew that. Oh, everyone knew it. You know, there was too much that was on Taysom's plate, too much we would lose from a special team standpoint, personal protector, tight end, a lot into each game plan, and should it be an extended period of time, then we were going to give Taysom that opportunity, which we're doing right now. But the experience and the exposure we've had to Jameis has been fantastic, and I'm glad he's here. And I think that we're in that business of evaluating, but also we feel like coaching and developing that position.
You said no timetable for Drew Brees. How is he doing?
He's doing well. We pretty much see him daily here. He's extremely diligent with all the specifics, and part of it's time. I saw him this morning. Hopefully it's sooner than later, though. I think it's going well.
You need to get more consideration for Coach of the Year. I'm not sure there's enough buzz for you, so hopefully we can kick off the campaign right now because you guys have been 3-0.
Not campaigning. Listen, we just want to keep winning games. I appreciate it.
I'm saying,
it.
Hey, we're campaigning for you.
There you have it. And any thoughts? Does anyone want to take that one?
That's very, very interesting.
Listen, that was some double talk right there. That was some double talk, Coach.
Well, I think they're going to say whatever they had to say to get him. I think they wanted Jameis Winston, and I think Blake was the first one to tell me this. He said that he's not only is Jameis going to want to go there, to try to prove something against the Bucs, but they're going to tell him maybe I could be wrong. They tell him whatever he wants to be able to get him on the team. to be able to have that edge up on a division opponent, especially knowing everything that's going on in Tampa Bay. Super Bowl or bust. You bring in Tom Brady and everything else, and if you can have Jameis Winston sitting there to be able to give you even just a little bit of insight into what's going on the field, it's worth it. So I thought it was really interesting that Jameis sat. I always thought Taysom was, that's all they really used him as was a gadget guy. I actually didn't even think that he had what he had in him. He actually surprised.
Me too. Yeah, I agree. I was like,
shocked everybody.
I don't think Taysom has what it takes to be like a pocket passer or even like a thrower. You know what I mean? Because it was only gadget plays, like you said, that he came in for. So nobody really knew. Nobody ever really saw a complete game from him. So you kind of wondered, does he have it? And it looks like he does. So.
Yeah, and they changed, and it's like you said, your coach of the year, because you molded your offense to fit your quarterback. Deshaun, also your mic is muted. They fit the offense to fit the quarterback, and that's what you do. Don't make an apple. I know I say this all the time. Don't make an apple an orange. Let an apple be an apple. Stop trying to force something that's not there, or someone make somebody that they're not. It doesn't end well. And the history of the NFL has shown that when you try to make mobile QBs into pocket passers and things like that. So I think Sean Payton's done a great job. But what Eric said, I think the Saints already had a leg up on the Steelers because Drew Brees is Jameis Winston's favorite quarterback.
What is this, kindergarten?
Yep, he's his favorite quarterback. Yeah, I know, right?
Quarterback.
That's his favorite quarterback.
That's something totally different. I don't care who your favorite quarterback is. You're a player in the NFL at this point. You're supposed to be.
That's why they thought Brady was going to go to 49ers because he grew up a diehard 49er fan.
Niner fan. But that's what I'm saying. You're a player in the NFL. You're making your own legacy. Your favorite player is your favorite player, but now you're a part of the business, so that's when it changes. I'm sure everybody that watches NASCAR or something of that nature, they have their favorite driver, but when they become a driver, they're in competition. You can no longer be in awe, of whomever that is. Same thing for a singer or whatever. So to me, the leg up on getting Jameis Winston was Tampa Bay. I believe anything. I don't believe anything else about it because he was hurt and offended of not to get that. And really, I can only say to him, listen, humble yourself, guy. Cam Newton did something over there in Carolina, and they didn't re-sign him. He's been their MVP. He's kind of brought them out of the doldrums, and you just threw her 30 interceptions. So Cam actually brought his team out of the doldrums. Jameis didn't bring, I said it. Got to do push-ups now. He didn't bring us out of the doldrums. He didn't really, he got us talked about, but in a negative fashion. So, at this point, he did that for himself. And that's the little bit of petty, childish or immature nature that you have with Jameis that rears its head at times. He can do everything on the field physically. I got no issues with him. I would fear him going against him. But the part that's between the ears to me seems to be his biggest, obstacle at this point. And I can't say that I've seen he's conquered it because no matter how great someone tells me a player is in practice, if I don't see him make game day, I kind of know they aren't as great as you telling me they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I know time is spent. I know, Allison, you had to get out of here. You want to plug yourself in and let everybody know they can find your work and your final thoughts, on the Steelers and whatever you want to add.
Yeah, so you can find my work at SteelersWire.com. You can follow me on Facebook at writer Allison Koehler and on Twitter at SteelersWireAK. As far as final thoughts for the season, they just better get their heads out of their asses if they want to win any more games beyond Cincinnati, and hopefully that's a gimme game. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's going to be interesting in the playoffs because if they don't turn things around, they're going to be one and done. There's no doubt. No matter who they play, no matter what seed they end up. So
Absolutely. You heard it right there from Allison. Get your heads out of your rear ends because, for one, you won't win many games like that. And two, the air is not very much clean down in there. You want to put your head up out of there so you can breathe right and win games.
Great stuff. Thanks for having me, Blake. See you later, guys.
Yep.
Right.
Gentlemen, continue.
What did y'all think? I know we talked a lot about the Steelers here. I'm just looking at some of these other scores. What did you guys think about some of these other scores, some of these other games I watched? First of all, did anybody see? I'm sure you all did, and I'm not sure if it's saying much because it was against the Jaguars. But anybody see that 99-yard run by Derrick Henry? Good God!
It just seems like he's going to get caught, and he never gets caught from behind.
Yeah. Listen, I think it's that. I think I'm starting to think it's that people don't want that smoke with him.
Oh,
they don't want
it. Full speed. No, you don't want that.
He's 4 inches taller than everybody else. I mean, the guy's a beast. Going back years, I remember Blake put me on his high school tape, and you go look. He was I believe he's still the highest recruited high school player ever. And you go back. I mean, he was running for like 600-700 yards a game or something crazy. I mean, his high school tape was insane. He looked like an NFL player, or at least a college player playing in high school way back then. And there was a lot of knock on Alabama running backs, because of the past or whatever. But the guy is just an animal. He's an absolute animal.
Listen, he's one. He is definitely one. You can knock anybody else. He's not. I'm thinking of the guy's name. He was one and done. I want to say it was something with a T.
Richardson.
His name.
Trent Richardson.
Yep, Trent Richardson. He's not a Trent Richardson, but he's a monster. And did you notice the celebration at the end of that, Blake and Eric? Did you notice that king celebration? He's doing the LeBron celebration, letting you know he's the king.
Yep, he sure did the LeBron celebration, and then AJ Brown came over to join him as well. I saw that. This guy, I mean, a lot of people. I said that from freshman year at Alabama, playing behind all those other running backs. I said, this dude right here, this freshman that's coming in at the end of these games. I said, this guy's gonna win the Heisman. I said,
listen, that's what it is. He's somebody. He's formidable. And guess what? He makes that team a better team. They control the clock. They have everything built for the playoffs, and that's why they were hard out in the playoffs. Interesting to see what they do. I know Blake is kind of running up on your time. You may got to get out of here. What we had for Falcons lost again. Let's little pinch on the NFC South. Falcons lost again yesterday. Matt Ryan threw a pick late in the game. You know, watch it next week. Yeah, next week if anybody's tailgating here in Atlanta, might roll over there with my mask on, tailgating. To see what we're doing. They definitely had some Bucs reports. They definitely had some Buccaneers. It's another Buccaneer invasion over here in Atlanta as well. I know the guy, he owns a store at the mall, and he's a big Buccaneer fan. So, they meet up. I believe it's Yellow Lot. So if you're tailgating in Atlanta next week, we'll get out here to the game and, just fellowship and just be some Bucs fans together doing it. Mask on and social distance, of course.
Absolutely, Deshaun. We enjoy having you here, and I'll see you Friday, right?
For sure. We're out here.
All right.
Okay, Deshaun.
Yep. Eric, you want to plug yourself in real quick?
Absolutely. Fast Track Cannabis Clinics. You can find us at mycannabiscard.com. Qualify to get your medical marijuana card. Skip the lines. Jump ahead, usually pre-qualifying in less than about 5 minutes time. Visit us online at the website, catch us on social media, or you can go ahead and call or text directly at 833-46-MJ-DOC. It's 1-833-46-MJ-DOC. And use promo code BR20 and go ahead and receive a $75 bottle of full spectrum CBD oil with any new patient evaluation.
There you have it. Check it out. Go to mycannabiscard.com or Fast Track Cannabis Clinics of America. Appreciate you jumping on, Eric. Look forward to hearing from you guys Friday.
Take care, bro.
Yep. And that continues. Well, that finishes our Monday version of post game. Tampa versus Minnesota. Talking sports, talking around the league. Also, I forgot to post this up earlier. Follow me on any of my social media sites. Win one of the 4 following items: Mike Allstock coin, Jimmy Giles, Doug Williams are a full-size new Tampa Bay flag. All you got to do is follow. Make sure to use hashtag code ST49. That lets me know that's why you're there and you want a chance to win one of those items. This excludes the Monday edition of Coaching from the Couch, Sports Talk 49, live on Bucs Report every Monday and Friday at 3 p.m. I'm Blake Anthony, and I appreciate you watching the show. And I'll end this as we always do. You're the master of everything what you do with your life. What you do with it is entirely up to you. Thank you, guys. God bless. And as always, fire those cannons.
With a slow motion crew, and we up in our growlings when people change.